SMEs are businesses that operate on a small to medium scale. They are not large corporations, but they form the majority of businesses in Malaysia. The classification depends on two main factors: the company's annual sales turnover and the number of full-time employees. SMEs are divided into two key sectors, which are manufacturing and services and other sectors. Each sector has its own specific threshold. For the manufacturing sector, a business is classified as an SME if it has sales turnover not exceeding RM50 million or it employs not more than 200 full-time employees. For the services and other sectors, the criteria are sales turnover not exceeding RM20 million or not more than 75 full-time employees. A business only needs to meet one of the criteria to be classified as an SME.
Slide explains both the current digitalization challenges faced by Malaysian SMEs as well as the government's efforts to address them. First, the government has allocated 50 million in matching grants through the Business Digitalization Initiative or BDI. These grants are meant to help SMEs adopt digital tools, for example, cloud-based accounting, e-commerce platforms, or digital HR system. The terms of matching means SMEs must also contribute their own funds. So if an SME spends 5,000 on digital solutions, the government will match that amount so it can help encourage serious digital adoption. In addition to financial grants, there is strong support from global tech companies such as Microsoft and Alibaba Cloud. These companies are working with the government to provide affordable digital tools and technical assistance. However, even with these efforts, many SMEs are still lagging behind. The uptake of digital solutions remains low. This is due to a few key reasons. Firstly, many SMEs owners are unaware that these grants even exist. Secondly, some SMEs do not have the digital skills or staff to implement these technologies. The government, through Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, is trying to solve this by simplifying grant processes and offering more training. Other initiatives, such as loan guarantees and export assistance, are also being used to support SMEs more broadly, especially those impacted by trade barriers like the new US tariffs. While there is a lot of support available, there is still a significant gap between the help offered and the help actually received. Bridging this gap is essential to making sure Malaysian SMEs don't fall behind in the digital economy. So this is challenges or issues that are highlighted from the article. The first issue is what we call the grant to adoption gap. Even though 50 million in funding has been made available, many SMEs are still not making use it. This shows that simply offering money is not enough. Businesses need help with how to apply, what to buy, and how to implement the technology effectively. Next, there is a growing digital divide between larger companies and smaller SMEs. Big firms have the resources and skills to digitalize quickly, but smaller businesses often do not have the same capabilities. This means SMEs risk falling behind in competitiveness both locally and globally. Finally, there are structural weaknesses in the current support system. Even with good intentions, many of the government programs are still too complicated and they do not always reach micro businesses. There is also a lack of follow-up support after a grant is given, meaning some SMEs never fully implement the solutions. So, overall, the challenges are not just financial, but they are also technical, structural, and educational in nature. Without addressing all these layers, digital transformation for SMEs will remain slow.
The next question will be, what are the economic contribution of SMEs to Malaysian community? So first and foremost, we have employment contribution. One of the most vital roles SMEs play in job creation. They provide employment for an estimated 48% to 65% of the total Malaysian workforce. This means nearly 1 out of every 2 jobs in the country is created by SME. Next up, we have sectoral contributions. So let's take a closer look at some key sectors. We have 3, which is manufacturing, services, and agriculture. In manufacturing, SMEs contribute significantly through production, value-added activities, and even exports. In services, especially wholesale and retail, SMEs are vital players helping to keep our consumers' economy running. And in agriculture, SMEs support food production and agro-based industries, particularly in rural development.
I'm going to touch about how government support SME. At first, by financial assistance and funding access, and second, training and capacity building, and the last one, market access and export promotions. So at first, we have financial assistance and funding access. Government provide various grants, loans, and financing schemes to support SMEs' capital needs, especially for expansion, automation, and recovery from crises like COVID-19. For example, we have Tekun Nasional, microloans for Bumi Putra entrepreneur, including informal and small business operator. Not only that, we also have Bank Negara Malaysia, include the Automation and Digitalization Facility (ADF) and High Technology Facility (HTF and IA) to encourage SME technology adoption. So, government take the initiative to overcome funding barriers because of SME often face difficulty getting bank loan due to lack of collateral or credit record. So government grants, soft loans, and guarantee scheme fill this financing gap. So up next, we have training and capacity building. SMEs receive supports in terms of entrepreneurship training, skills upgrading, and certification assistance to improve productivity and market readiness. So one of the initiatives that taken by government is introducing TUB, Tunas Usahawan Belia Bumi Putra, one of entrepreneurial bootcamp for youth under SME Corp. And also, government introduced HRD Corp training grants, which is government covers training costs for registered SME to upskill workers. One of the reasons why government take the initiative is to prepare for global expansion. SME with export potential need to understand international regulation, quality standard, and also logistics. Government trainings help them navigate this area to succeed in global markets. So, last but not least, market access and export promotion. This to help SME growth beyond Malaysia. Agencies like Matrade and HTC offer export training, market exposure, and grant funding. So, the example of the initiative that taken by government is Market Development Grant, covers export promotion costs like trade shows and marketing. And the other example is Halal Industry Development Cooperation. This assists SMEs with halal certification and global halal market access. So the reason why government take this initiative is to expand business opportunities. Domestic markets can be limited, especially for niche products.
Let us discuss why the loan is being rejected. As a member of Credit Approval Team at Commercial Bank in Malaysia, we are looking forward to strong financial position and net cash flow to us to accept the loan application. Now, let us discuss if the SME has a weak financial position and poor cash flow. So, the applicant recent audit financial statement revealed low net profit margin and negative operation cash flow over the past 2 years. Additionally, high debt to equity ratio and poor liquidity indicator. For example, the current ratio is less than 1. As a member of credit approval, we expect the ratio is much higher so that they can perform their obligation over their assets. Now, let's move on to the second key that lead rejection of SME loan application. The lack of collateral and insufficient security. The SME is provide their business asset mainly as collateral. However, evaluation of this asset reveal low resale value and high depreciation, making them unsuitable to support the full loan amount. Now, last but not least, the final key of the rejection of SME loan application. The limited business experience and weak management capability. We have a doubt to accept the owner or manager who has only 1 to 2 years of experience in the current industry and lack of clear strategic plan for expansion. During interview, for example, the applicant was unable to demonstrate market understanding, operational control, or financial planning capabilities. We look from top to toe. Unfortunately, we have to reject the loan application due to weak financial health, insufficient collateral, and inexperienced management. The applicant is considered high risk for us and unlikely to meet the loan repayment obligation reliably.